Alright, this is a good one to do. It's a Holley 600. You can see it's nasty. Dirt dauber's nest all in there. Dirt dauber nest, dirt dauber nest. So I'm gonna do a video on how to rebuild a Holley 600. Go into good detail about it so you can do it yourself. First thing I'm gonna do is get rid of the dirt dauber nest, and then I'm gonna start tearing it apart. And I won't bore you all with tearing apart pieces. And another thing I like to use, go pick you up some cooking trays, so when you take bolts out and everything, they all stay right there. And plus you can use it to spray carburetor cleaner in and everything. And you don't have to have this here, but I made this for like if we're at the track somewhere and I'm tearing apart the carburetor, I can just screw all the bolts in. I got it laid out where all the bolts go in. I can put screws in there and don't have to worry about them rolling away. And to remove these 6 screws, it's a 5 30-seconds clutch bit. You can use a screwdriver if you get one that'll fit good, but it's a 5 30-seconds clutch bit. Now that it's all tore apart, it's time to start cleaning. And you can see how dirty everything is. And I'm going to use the Ultrasonic Cleaner. And I'll show you what I'm going to put in it in a minute. Now, I'm going to just add some water to the Ultrasonic Cleaner. I just went in the house, got some hot water. I usually use the outside spigot, but I went ahead and got some hot water to help speed things up a little bit. And since this carburetor is in pretty bad shape, I'm going to use the magic stuff. That's about half. Looks good. See how dirty it is? I'm not going to do nothing but set it in there and cut it on. I have the heat setting at 122 and the light will go out whenever it's reached that temperature. And so I just cut it on. Makes a little noise, but it's gonna clean it. Alright. I put it in there for 20 minutes. Flipped it over. Put it in there for another 20 minutes. And there you go. Clean. Now, main body. See how dirty it is on the inside? Time for the main body. Set it over in there. Lid on. Wait a minute. Alright, so here's the base plate, and there's the transfer slot. What you want to do is get the transfer slot square. This says about 20 thousandths, so you just get it square, and I draw it out for you what I'm talking about. Square is, you got the transfer slot like that. So to square it off, you want your throttle blades to cut the transfer slot where it's an even square all the way around, and that's where I set my transfer slots up to start off with. Alright, then you take your old gasket and match it up with your new set and place it on. Make sure everything matches up, lines up. Make sure nothing's interfering. Alright, so now you're ready to put the main body on. And get these tight. And it recommends 30 inch-pounds. So just put the little torque wrench on there and make sure they're at 30 inch-pounds. Alright, they all set. And check, make sure everything opens up like it should. Alright, the base plate's on. Now that the main body's on there, I always like to put your check weight, drop it down into the hole for the squirter. Here's your squirter, and this one here is a 25. And your poke for the squirter, get the gasket started. Then you can set it down in the squirter and get it seated. Ones with chokes on there, they are hard to get the bottom gasket in there. Just slide it, get it close to place. Then use something to get it centered. Yeah, with the choke flap, it's a little bit more aggravating. Take a pair of pliers, ease it down in the hole. Drop it in. Then just tighten it up. Some will have a metal plate that goes in between here, and if it does, you'll put the metal plate, put this gasket on, then put your metal plate on this gasket. But this one here didn't have a metal plate, it just had this metering plate. So just set it in there, line your holes up, and use your 6 5/32 clutch screws. Take them and run them in. Get them all touching. Now go back and tighten them. Okay, so far we got the base plate on, all that's freed up, main body onto the base plate, the accelerator pump squirter, the rear metering plate for the back, and the gasket on the back. So that's where we at right now. Everything's still free. And since we're this far here, I like to go ahead and put on the rear bowl. But I have to say the Ultrasonic Cleaner did a pretty good job on cleaning all this stuff. So right now, I'm putting float in. Just ease it into the slot right there. Give light pressure down. Slide it on. Set your spring back where it needs to be. It's helping out. Just seat it in. Now I got to put this little C-clip in that holds the float on. Alright, I have the C-clip right there at the point of starting. A little tip I found out about that is take your pliers, tap them on a piece of metal to help demagnetize it so it won't be, so they won't pick up the C-clip. Let me see, it done. And it's in there. Then take your needle and seat and screw it in. Hold it upside down. And just screw it until This one here should be level like that there. Make sure the needle and seat drops down. It's dropping down. But this float should be pretty much level to start off with. Then put your little gasket on. Put the lock nut on. Put the gasket up here. Spin that in. And lock it down. This is a float tool. Pretty handy. Then turn it upside down again. Check, make sure it's where it's needed to be. Let's see which one's which. Now slide that in there. Click. Oh, it's in place. Make sure everything's free and turning. Moving. Alright, now we can move on. On the carburetors with this little metering plate that goes in there, you have 4 screws that are short and 4 screws that are long. The short ones go in the back. Put your gasket on there. Set her up in there. Get them started. They're holding themselves up. And tighten these, which are 5/16. Now, for your sight plug, put the gasket on it, screw it in, and later on I will show you about using the vertical tube to check the floats, just so you see where they set at. But screw that in and find my screwdriver. There it is. And just snug it down. I'll be pulling that back out to show you the float levels and what we got to do to it. But that's all I'm going to do for today on this one here, because the battery in the camera is getting low and I don't want to be in the middle of doing something and it cut off on me. So this is it for today.